Protests are still happening in our area right now, too. Police are monitoring the streets after protesters made their way to several locations, including Target and Walmart, which ended up closing early as a precaution. 10 News reporter Shane Dwyer joins us live now from downtown where demonstrators are. Shane, what are you seeing there?
Jessica, what we're seeing right now is the demonstrators that started at Valley View Walmart making their way now back down toward downtown. You can see the officers across the street. At this point, they are allowing the people to march, and they are attempting to protect the police department. Again, you can see they're standing there in the parking lot. The police department is right over there. This building, if we pan over to the right, you can see the windows right there. That is the Roanoke City Police Department. And you can see the police officers holding a line here, trying to keep people from getting any closer to the police department. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the video that we shot earlier today. This started at Walmart. We were told by Roanoke Mayor Sherman Lee that people had busted out some windows at the Valley View Walmart, and that is when this all began. Now I want to make this very clear. You'll hear about it. You got a protest that started earlier today, this afternoon. These are different folks than what we're seeing out here right now. They went from Walmart to Target because they got kicked out of the Walmart. Then they went to Target. They went back and forth with police for a few minutes. A couple people got pepper sprayed, and then they gave their notice saying, hey, 5 minutes, y'all got to go, or we're going to take the next action. So then they went to Burlington Coat Factory. The exact same thing. Really just a cat and mouse game this evening between a number of agencies across the valley, pretty much every agency in the Roanoke Valley represented out here tonight, and the protesters. From there, then they went to Sheetz on 460, and they were there for probably about another half hour doing the exact same thing, just back and forth, protesters getting in police officers' faces, taunting them, trying to get them to do something. And now, at this point, let's go ahead and listen to Mayor Sherman Lee. This is what he had to say his concerns are for the rest of the evening.
Because it is nighttime.
Now, again, you just heard from Roanoke Mayor Sherman Lee. He says he is seriously concerned about possible bodily injury, serious bodily injury, death, or severe violence tonight. So they are keeping a very close eye on this. But again, at this point, protesters making their way back toward downtown, right in front of the courthouse right now. We'll check in with you toward the end of the show in about 25 minutes and let you know where they are at that point. Live in Roanoke, Shane Dwyer, 10 News, working for you.
Roanoke City and Allegheny Health District saw 168 new infections. 10 News reporter Jessica Jewell is live tonight to explain how the health department is dealing with this surge. Jessica?
John, we are continuing to see those cases rise, and the local health director warns we're just getting ready to enter the most challenging period of this pandemic. Because of that, local health departments are changing the way they handle contact tracing. It's no longer solely up to VDH. With what they call substantial levels of community transmission, the health department will now be prioritizing contact tracing efforts for key populations. That includes people who are high risk, those diagnosed in the past 6 days and their household contacts, people living, working in, or visiting congregate living facilities, and people involved in known clusters or outbreaks. Our local health director says it's now critical for the community to step up.
Because of our strapped resources, because of the extent of activity in the community, we cannot get to everybody in the time frame that is best for our community, and so we need the community support. We need the community telling each other if they test positive.
Despite new CDC guidance saying quarantining may only be necessary for 10 days, VDH is still recommending the full 14 days. We're also getting a better idea of how our local health department is preparing for a vaccine. We'll tell you when you can expect mass clinics coming up tonight on 10 News at 6. Live in Roanoke, I'm Jessica Jewell, 10 News, working for you.
Levels in Roanoke are starting to go down tonight. 10 News reporter Lindsay Kennett is live watching all that. Lindsay, we understand that there were actually several water rescues today, so tell us what things look like now.
It's been a very busy day here in Roanoke for first responders, especially in southeast Roanoke. Just take a look. The Roanoke River is completely flooded. You can barely see the greenway, the road here. It's all submerged. Now, I'm on Bennington Street southeast, and I want to give you a look at one driver who did not follow the rules. This car, the driver drove around the barricades and got stuck and had to call 911 for help. So I want to give you a look at that rescue. This is video from Roanoke Fire EMS this morning. You can see crews waiting out in the water with dry suits and life jackets on to rescue that driver who got stuck. And I am told that the driver is okay. Roanoke Fire EMS tells me that this is actually the same spot where another car got stranded in the flooding back in May. I talked with one man who lives nearby, and he came out to check out the flooding. Here's what he had to say.
Stop thinking you can go through this water, because water does not play at all. This is, you got to be smarter than that. And every time people they just want to go through it. I don't know why.
Coming up tonight at 6, I'll tell you about several road closures in the area and what fire officials say you need to avoid if you're driving on the roads. Reporting live in Roanoke, I'm Lindsay Kennett, 10 News, working for you.
Oh, John and Megan, the Valley View employees I spoke with said the mall quickly turned chaotic after the shots were fired. They described it as the scariest situation they have ever experienced. A sea of first responders are still here investigating, but the people inside are going to remember this night for all of the wrong reasons.
Roanoke's largest shopping center became a crime scene Saturday night. A person was shot inside of Valley View Mall at around 7 o'clock. A terrifying scene for employees such as Brandy Jarvis.
Just pop, pop, pop. And that's when I think everybody realized it was actually a gun and there was a shooting. People started running in the store. We tried to rush as many customers in the back as we could.
And Molly Cummings.
I have worked in this mall in many different stores for 5 years now, and I have never in my life been this scared.
As law enforcement agencies from all across the area converged on Valley View, Police Chief Sam Roman outlined what happened within.
There was some kind of argument in the mall between two different groups of people, and during that incident, shots were fired, resulting in one injury.
Cummings says it was already a scary day in the mall before the shots went off.
Throughout the day, the crowd was rowdy. It was rowdy all day long, and we saw security guards, we saw a few police officers in here trying to just dial people down.
As officers continued to investigate, those who were inside tried their best to comprehend what they witnessed.
Pure terror, just not knowing what was going on, not knowing if somebody was hurt, not knowing if maybe, I don't know, it was horrible.
Most of the employees have been out of the mall for hours, but Chief Roman said a few were still sheltered in place when he last updated the media about 2 hours ago. Now, as far as the situation here, you can see the flashing lights. There's still a lot of first responders here from as far away as Botetourt County. Still a very, very busy scene here tonight.
Taj, we got a little bit of a feel for it, but since you were there shortly after this happened, what was the mood when you first arrived, some of those people you talked to?
I mean, the word I can use to describe it is surreal. People process shock in different ways, and that was really on full display out in the parking lot. Some people were very emotional. Some people were running back to their cars. Some people seemed like they went through it like it was any other day. But it is clearly a very, very unusual night here at View, and people are just trying to figure out what happened.
Well, good evening. We are working for you to learn if Liberty University President Jerry Falwell Jr. is leaving the university that his father founded. And I can tell you that within the last minute, we have just received an update from a statement finally from the university.
Right now, he is on an indefinite leave of absence, but in the past few hours, there have been a series of conflicting reports about whether he will resign. All of this after a bombshell report of an affair and alleged blackmail.
10 News reporter Shane Dwyer is live tonight at Liberty University.
Shane, we know we just got information from Liberty University about what happens next. So what can you tell us at this point?
Yeah, well, Brittany and John, we have been trying to get this information from both Falwell Jr. and Liberty, top Liberty University officials all night long. Now, just within the last few minutes, as you said, we received that statement from Liberty University. I want to go ahead and just read it to you because we're actually in the process of digesting this information right as we bring it to you. It says that on the first day of classes, Liberty University's fall term, Jerry Falwell Jr. agreed to resign as its president and from the board of directors. But following media reports about the resignation, he withdrew it. The executive committee's board of trustees asked Falwell to go on an indefinite leave of absence on August 7th, earlier this month, to which he agreed. Since that time, Additional matters came to light which made it clear that it would not be in the best interest of the university for him to return from leave and serve as president. The executive committee met this morning and a conference call gathering of the full board was planned for tomorrow. Now, Falwell responded by agreeing to resign immediately as president of Liberty University today, but then instructed his attorneys to not tender the letter for immediate resignation. The executive committee will go forward with its meeting in the morning, followed by the full board tomorrow morning. Acting President Jerry Prevost said, "I call upon the university community and supporters to be in prayer for the university and for all its leadership, past, present, and future, as we walk with the Lord through this stormy time of transition." Now, of course, again, this coming just in the last few minutes following a day's worth of controversy starting last night, when the Washington Examiner launched what's now being called a preemptive strike. Jerry Falwell Jr. offering an op-ed admitting to what he says was an affair that his wife Becky Falwell had with an unnamed person at that point. He then said that that unnamed person was trying to extort the Falwell family.
30 children. We shared their faces and stories, hoping to find them safe and loving homes. Some are heartbreaking.
Why do you want a family?
I'm tired of seeing people having a family and not me.
Many of you called about Grayson after seeing that.
It's the day a local family has been waiting for all year. They will officially become homeowners as this year's Home for Good project comes to an end. 10 News anchors Brittany McGraw and John Carlin are live at the home on Moorman Avenue in Roanoke this afternoon as we get ready to dedicate the home and hand over the keys. John and Brittany, this is always such an exciting day.
Yes, this is an amazing and beautiful day that we get to dedicate this home here on Moorman Avenue. And what a journey it has been to get to this point. We have been in the midst of a pandemic. We have had to deal with some rainy days during the build schedule. However, we have successfully built this home, and we are so excited to celebrate with Habitat for Humanity.
All right, so Daria, you have something that everybody wants to see right here, and that's the keys to this new house. And Daria, by the way, I don't know if you want to say anything, but you were in charge of this whole build, is that right?
Correct.
So you were running all the crews and keeping everybody in line who's out here working?
Oh yeah, and I can say without a doubt, Courtney, you have earned, as they said before, every single inch of this house. It's been such a pleasure to work with you. I'm so proud to hand you these keys and to say welcome home. Thank you.
Wow, there we go. That is what it's all about.